All right, so welcome you guys. I'm excited for today's call. I don't really want to waste any time. So I just want to introduce our guest and we'll get started. She has something incredible to share with you guys. And I'm super excited to hear this too. So this is, we have Marsha Smrka on the call. She is a two-time elite coach. She just became a coach in July of 2013. She's a 6-star diamond coach, and she is 8-star qualifying right now. She is a mom of 4 kids, and when she started, they were ages 0 to 7. I'm sure she'll tell you about that. She is 1-star in her husband's account, and she is a Success Club legend. She's never missed a month since she became a coach. So I am excited for her to share with us. She's going to talk to you guys about building fast, helping your team build, helping them with success, and things like that, that I'm sure you guys, if they have any questions, can they put in the chat for later? Just any questions, put in the chat, and she'll answer. And I'm going to let you take over. Let me just unmute you.
Oh, I did already.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll mute myself. I'm going. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you for that introduction. Again, my name is Marsha Smrka. I live in a very, very small rural town in the center of Wisconsin. My neighbors are Amish and Mennonite, so our Sunday rush hour traffic is buggies and horses going by. No joke. It's our reality. I just want to give you kind of a little bit of backstory of myself so that you can hopefully maybe relate and see, what I've, where I've come from and what challenges and obstacles I ran into during my coaching career has brought me where I am now. So my degree is in psychology. So before we had kids, I was working for people with developmental disabilities, and I was overseeing services in 2 different counties in Wisconsin. And although I really loved that job, it didn't pay worth crap at the time. I thought it was good money. Looking back, I was like, what was I thinking? But once we had kids, that was kind of the game changer for me. I don't know how many of you guys on this call are moms, but we tried daycare for 2 months, and it was the hardest 2 months of my life. I grew up on a farm. My parents were always around. We always kind of said when we had kids, I wanted to be home with them and be a stay-at-home mom. So that was one thing that was really, really important to us, to try to figure out a way how I could stay home and raise our family. We knew we wanted a big family. I come from a huge family. My mom is one of 18. No joke. My dad is one of 6. I grew up in a family of 6 kids. So we knew we were going to have a bigger family. So anyway, I left my career, and I was the breadwinner at that time. So as you can imagine, it was quite scary. My husband wasn't earning that much money, but it was just a sacrifice we were willing to make. So 7 years later, we were on a single income. My husband was a sole provider. We were financially strapped, but it was worth the sacrifices. Like I said, we had 4 kids during that time. We had no savings. We were up past our eyeballs in debt, over $30,000. Lived on our credit cards, and it was not a lifestyle that we wanted to continue. It was not ideal by any means. My husband was driving an hour each day one way, so 2 hours a day he was in the car back and forth, and we never saw each other. It was like we were literally fasting in the night. So he would get home at 11 o'clock at night, and every single night I had to tuck the kids in. We ate dinners by ourselves. I would tuck them in, read them their stories, and they would ask me if they were going to see their dad that night. I'm going to cry. It was the hardest thing I had to do, and my oldest was 7 at the time, and we had a baby. And I was like, you know what? I do not want this for all of our kids. As they started getting in school, my husband was missing out on everything. He couldn't come to any of their programs because he was working so far away. And, just the sting of not having any income, any savings to support our family. We had to literally pick and choose which bills we were going to pay every month just to make ends meet and get by, because we couldn't pay our bills. So that kind of takes me to how coaching came into our life. I wasn't on any social media whatsoever. So a lot of times people might make that excuse that I don't know how to work Facebook. I don't have a big following. I had nothing. I didn't even know what Instagram was. I didn't know what Pinterest was. I knew Facebook because my husband talked me into creating an account when we were in college dating, but I thought it was the dumbest thing ever and never went on it again. So I had an inactive Facebook account, no marketing experience or knowledge, no following whatsoever. From a small town, we have 1,500 people in our town. I graduated with 40 kids in my high school class. So when we knew we were done having kids after Marin was born, she's my baby. You might see her later. She might pop in. I knew that I needed to do something to change. My husband was already working, long hours. He couldn't take on any more on his plate. So I knew it was up to me. And with kids at home, I knew a traditional job wasn't going to be the solution for me. So my husband was on Facebook, and you guys might know Alyssa Showmaker. She's a 2-time top 10 coach. He went to high school with Alyssa. So he was seeing her posts on Facebook about online health coaching. And I was a runner, still am a runner. So I was always into healthy lifestyle and active, being active, and loved running. So he's like, this might be a really good fit for you. You already love healthy lifestyle. You love helping people. Maybe this would be a good fit for you. So kind of make a long story short, I got on the phone with her a couple times. And right after, I didn't sign up right away. I Googled, I YouTubed. I was entirely skeptical. It just sounded way too good to be true, like probably all of you guys went through when you decided to coach. But once I made that decision to do it, I went all in. And I think this is like the key piece to a lot of coaches' success. I didn't give myself a backup plan. I knew that I didn't have an option to not make this work. It was way too good of an opportunity to not take full advantage and just do what I needed to do what I was told to do, to be a success story. And I knew that I wanted things to change with my husband's job. He had been looking for jobs for a year, and because of where we live, it's very low income. The median, salary is really low. So by me picking up health coaching, I knew that my income contribution to our family would allow him to also work closer to home, and we could have a normal life, with the family and with kids seeing him every night for dinners and being tucked in. So everything happened really quickly. I signed up for coaching. He left his job as a campus director. We left all of our benefits behind. He took a job as an arts administrator with no benefits, a $20,000 annual pay cut, but it was 20 minutes from home. We couldn't say no. And it was his degree is in art, so it was his passion to also work in the arts. So it was a very scary time for us, but I was committed and I was all in. So that kind of is a little bit of backstory, I guess, to how I got started. So I feel like I want to share with you guys kind of the underlying fundamental principles that were key, I feel, to setting the stage to my success as coaching. And I've already kind of shared some of those with you. But if you're taking notes, this will be a little bit more organized for you guys to jot these things down. One phrase that I kept thinking about when I started coaching is success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. And you guys maybe have heard that from Zig Ziglar. And I felt like it was the perfect opportunity. Beachbody coaching was my solution that I've been searching for. It allowed for everything that I needed, flexible hours, to be still working from home and being present with my kids. The income potential, although I didn't fully realize it when I signed up, I had no idea what was possible because the coach, Alyssa, was only coaching for 7 months when I signed up with her. She hadn't seen a lot of success yet with her business. And I didn't, I guess, even think of interviewing other top coaches, or because I wasn't on Facebook, I wasn't seeing anything that was going on, with the coaching network with Beachbody. I knew her through my husband, and I trusted her. So, but I feel like that when I found out about coaching, it was the perfect opportunity. And preparation, I was mentally prepared for change. I already knew what I didn't want my life to look like. I was living it. We were financially strapped. We were deep into debt. We were not, we didn't have a normal family life. My kids never saw my husband. I never saw my husband. We never spent time with each other. We couldn't travel. We couldn't vacation. Everything that we spent went on a credit card. That was my reality, and I needed change desperately. And it was up to me to make that change. So, we talk a lot about, and I'm sure, you guys hear this all the time. Lindsay probably talks to you guys about having that why, that deep why. You guys saw me get emotional with my kids. My kids are my why. My family is my why. I can control my future, and you guys can do that too. It's in your court. You guys can control this. I don't know about you guys, but, working corporate America, I dreaded having to wait a full year to sit in a a job review, performance review, and beg for why I deserved a raise. I hated that. I thought I was worth way more than what I was getting paid. And I hated having someone else in control of my income. This opportunity, you are in control. If you want to earn more money, you help more people. You work 2 power hours a day, right? You get out there on social media and you learn about attraction marketing. There are things that are in your control that you can directly impact your income and your earnings, right? And you guys, I'm going to talk a lot about the business because that's why I joined, is all about the business. A lot of you guys maybe have joined into a challenge group. I had no idea what a challenge group was. As many times as Alyssa tried to explain it to me on the phone, because I didn't really understand Facebook. I wasn't on it. I didn't know that there were closed groups on Facebook. She tried to explain that to me. I was like, I don't know, but I do know that I want to earn money, so let's do this thing. So my passion really is in talking about the business opportunity, if you guys can tell. All right, so again, I was just mentally prepared to make that change. The second thing is I had a clear vision of my why. I was open and willing to make the short-term sacrifices to achieve the long-term goal. My first personal development book was Take the Stairs by Rory Vaden. And I feel like that really set the stage for me to realize that, you know what, there were going to be bumps in the road. There were going to be obstacles that I would overcome. But those are the stairs. Those are the climbs up. There's going to be, a point where you plateau or where you have the downhill. But as long as you keep going in the right direction, you're going to succeed. And I kept, through all those, objections and things like that, I let it roll off my back because I knew I was making a difference. I was, reinforced every day when I would open my inbox and I would have people messaging me that they were thanking me for what I was doing and, appreciated what I was sharing with them. So I knew I was doing the right thing. And if people unfriend me or block me, I find out every once in a while, I'll go back and, try to reconnect with somebody who I hadn't talked to in a while. And it's like, oh, we're not friends anymore. Oh, well, move on to the next person. Because Facebook, I started it because of the business. I think I have a different kind of mentality about social media than maybe other people who have been on Facebook for social, reasons. Because when I went on Facebook, I really didn't like Facebook at all to begin with. But it was really fun as I started adding the contacts and just expanding my network. So I always have had that mentality about Facebook. It's for my business. Okay, so short-term sacrifices. Things that I cut out right away were TV. I don't watch TV. I'm almost ashamed to say I don't watch the news. I really don't know what's going on in the world, and my husband sometimes gives me grief about that. But you know what? That's not going to better my life, knowing, I don't know. That's why I look at the TV shows that people get tied into. I don't even know what the ones are because, like I said, I don't watch it. But I always looked at my time being spent as how can I use my time best to move my business forward? Because again, this is Marin. My kids were my why, and I knew that I had to work hard to be able to impact our family's future. The second book that I read was The Compound Effect, and kind of the same type of situation where I was reading that book and recognizing that, these actions, these activities, using the bat today really isn't making a huge, huge difference for me today. But I know that what I do is going to impact my tomorrow. And I just, every single day, I never missed a day of being present on social media. Never. I always worked my power hour every single day. I used my bat. I tracked my business. I treated it like a business because I knew my husband is a potter. I might have mentioned that before. He's a studio potter. He went to school for art. And I was already seeing what a hobby would cost us. He was spending a lot of money on his hobby, but not really treating it like a business. I knew when I signed up to coach that it needed to be a business, and I had to treat it like a business so that it wouldn't cost us like a hobby. All right, so the third thing then is I focused on what I could control. So my fitness, I was committed to my workout programs, followed through I signed up with Shalina Extreme. I mentioned I was a runner, so that was something entirely brand new to me, working out from home, because I was just used to strapping on a pair of tennies and going for a run. The cross training really benefited me, and I talked about that, how it increased my pace, it increased my endurance, and it really helped me just feel overall more fit. The other thing that I did is, like I said, I didn't skip a power hour. I didn't skip a day of posting on social media. I recognized that I wasn't getting a lot of traction on my posts. As you guys probably remember being a new coach. You don't get a lot of likes and comments on your posts. But I knew But I knew that I had to be present every single day so that people would think of me when they were ready to make change in their life. Even if I was getting no's, I knew that it was just a not now. It was a timing thing for them, that they would come back around to me when they were ready. But I wanted them to know that I was there for them, and I would still support them regardless if they ever joined into a challenge group of mine or not. So sometimes, like if I knew someone was maybe in a free group and they were looking for help, I would randomly send them maybe a meal plan or a recipe or a fitness tip in a private Facebook message, just to help build those relationships, so that they didn't just feel like I was trying to sell them something. I tried to add value every single day with my posts, and I wasn't just posting to post. I was sharing with people what I was learning in the process. Like, what is chia seed? I had no idea what chia seed was when I first started coaching. All these coaches were using these weird things like quinoa. How do you pronounce quinoa? I don't know. Chia seed. What do you use those for? Flax. So I was educating my followers at the same time I was learning myself. Clean eating. I didn't know what clean eating was. So again, just opportunity to share with people. And I gave as much information as I could. I shared my meal plans every week publicly on my timeline so that people were intrigued and thinking to themselves, wow, if she's giving all this information to me for free, I wonder what her groups are like. That's what you kind of want. You want to create people who want to stick with you and they want more from you so that they become like loyal followers to you. They will stick with you to the end, right?
Mama.
All right. And I kind of have an overachiever type of personality to begin with. So another thing that was in my controllable was working my husband's account. And I feel like this is really, really important, guys. If you have a spouse or a family account, you can sign up U+2. So right from the start, as soon as I signed up my husband, I was working to get him to Success Club. I would get myself to Success Club fast in the month. By the 15th, for sure, I wanted to get my own account to Success Club. So that way I had an equal amount of time to work on my husband's account the last 2 weeks of the month and also help my coaching team with their Success Club goals. So you always have to think of your own business first, get yourself to Success Club early in the month so you have enough time to focus on your team and building that spouse account. So I went diamond in 63 days. And then I kind of got complacent. And, you guys maybe learn from my mistake, but I was helping a lot of people. I was hitting Success Club 20 and 30 as a new coach my first probably year. So I had a huge customer base. And it wasn't until I qualified for the Success Club trip in my very first year, which was amazing because I only signed on in July. So from July until December, those few months, I earned that Success Club trip for the following year, that March. And that was like something I thought it would never be possible. But I helped a lot of people and I busted my butt. And it wasn't really a goal of mine because I thought it was so like out of the question. But once I achieved diamond, I think I got bumped up and things were different back then because there weren't 400,000 coaches in the network. But being at that trip and talking with other coaches and seeing what was possible really opened my eyes. And it led me to ask, like, why am I not building my husband to diamond? Like, that's just silly. So I got back from that trip, and in a week and a half maybe, I built my husband to diamond. And it was because I had so much support and loyal followers and the customer base. Probably most of the people, I just offered them the coach discount. They were discount coaches. And then I don't remember who my emeralds were under him at the time. But it can be done. That's kind of my point with that. And attending events is so important, guys. All right, so let's see, controlling the controllable. All right, and then the fourth thing was I deliberately developed a constant process to build momentum. And back then as a brand new coach, I didn't really understand or realize that that's what I was doing, but that's exactly what I was doing. I never let my foot off the pedal. I was present on social media every single day. I was inviting every single day with conversations I had. I was always looking for a solution to offer people. And that's just my personality. Like if something's broke, I try to fix it. And it kind of drives my husband really crazy sometimes, but that's just who I am. So, if someone was coming to me or like I would see a post on their timeline that, they're looking for healthy recipes or they're just not happy with themselves, or I could just tell they were in a funk. Even if it was nothing with Beachbody, I would send them like a quote, an inspirational quote message in a private message inbox and just say, I was thinking about you today. It seemed to me like you needed a little pick me up, or I hope this helps brighten your day. And that would really make a difference and an impact in those people's lives. And it just helped solidify those relationships that I was forming with people. Okay. The other thing that I did is I found friends daily, every single day, because I knew I could not build a business and expand a network without people. Because I wasn't on Facebook when I started. When I did reactivate my account, I had 60 people on Facebook from 10 years ago in college, okay? So I hadn't talked to a lot of those people. I live a very private life. I'm an introvert, a wallflower. You guys might not know it from this call, but I really am. It was really putting me out of my comfort zone to reach out to people who I hadn't talked to. I kind of burned a lot of bridges. I had a lot of crap in my high school years, so I really burned a lot of bridges, and I didn't want people to even know that I had moved back to my hometown. So my husband and I got married. We lived an hour and a half away from my hometown. We were happy, but once we had kids, everything changed. We wanted to be close to family, so we moved back to Loyal, my small town hometown. And I was here for 3 years, and people didn't even know that I was back, some people, and that's how private we were. So Facebook friends, I would stalk my friends' list and just send them a friend request. Anybody who had 15 to 20 mutual friends of mine, they got a friend request from me. And I tried to do messages also with those requests to increase their likelihood of them accepting me. So I would send them a message like, hey there, how are you? I noticed that we have a lot of mutual friends in common. I'm just wondering if you'd like to connect with me on Facebook and get to know each other. And just something just very generic. And I would send those out. It also put me in Facebook jail a lot, but that means you're doing something, right? I remember the last time I was banned for 30 days to send new friend requests and messages to people that weren't my friend. And I was like, I think it was in a cup challenge month too. It was in October, the third month into my business. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't friend request people because that was what I did every single day, a huge amount of my time. Crazy. Lindsay, I just saw your husband. I was like, oh my God, Adam's home. My husband. All right. The other thing that I did in my third month as coach, it was like I said, it was a cup challenge, and I wanted to do everything that I could, think outside the box to meet people and get out there. So I started a fit club. If you guys haven't done one of those, they're a ton of fun. I started one in 2 different locations actually. So one in my hometown and then one 20 minutes away. And I just posted on Facebook. I did a flyer, an announcement, and I tagged the crap out of it so that it got in a lot of people's newsfeed. And I just said something very short and sweet and generic. If I were to host a group workout in Loyal, in Marshfield, in your town, would you be interested? If I were to do this, would you be interested? That's a little tip from GoPro. And I got a ton of comments and ton of likes, but I didn't know anybody. So it was really hard for me to reach out and connect with people. But I did have one friend who knew a lot of people and was very charismatic. She's a yellow personality, great at coordinating activities and events. So I messaged her, I'm like, would you want to help me with this little project, Christy? I could really use your help. I know you know a lot of people who might be interested in doing this. Would you want to help me out with this? And she was more than happy to help me out. And every single person that came to my first fit club was because she asked them about it and invited them. And every single person that came to that fit club in October signed up with my challenge group to help with my cup challenge. So that was awesome. The other thing that I did is I met up with people in our local grocery store and did a grocery shopping strategies meetup. So my goal was really to add customers. I didn't care if they were free customers or challengers. I just wanted to help people. So I offered that group for free with their Team Beachbody membership or $10. And I was really hoping that they would just sign up for the membership. I didn't want to make it too much where it seemed ridiculous. But I also wanted them to be encouraged to get their membership so that I could help them as their coach. So we decided on a location. You guys got to talk to the grocery store first to make sure it's okay with you if you're planning on doing this. But I provided a meal plan. Oh, sorry, you guys. Okay. All right. So I provided them with a meal plan, a grocery shopping list, a clean eating grocery shopping list, and my favorite recipes, and then some clean eating tips, all in a little folder binder. And then I literally took them, we each had a grocery cart, and we talked about shopping the perimeter, different labels on foods, what I look for on food labels, difference between different types of peanut butter, different types of cottage cheese, why I pick certain kinds over the other. And it was really, really helpful for the people that came. And actually, a lot of my current customers wanted to do this too with me. So it was just really fun to help my customers face to face, and also help me add some new contacts and new challengers to my challenge group, because they did want more from me and they signed up in my challenge group. So that was another thing that I really loved to do. Let's see. The other thing that I learned through this whole process, and I don't know if you guys have read The 10 Times Rule by Grant Cardone. I finished this book up a couple months ago, and it just blew my mind. It rocked my socks off. So if you guys are looking for a personal development book, I highly recommend this one. It talks about being omnipresent. And again, as a new coach, I didn't really think about, what I was doing, but that's exactly what I was doing. I was being omnipresent, offering every type of service I could think of: fit clubs, grocery store meetups. We met for coach opportunity presentations. There was a community room at the mall, and I set up one of those to meet with people. I was published in a magazine, our local magazine and newspaper. I met up with local coaches who were joining my team. We would just go for coffee and just talk business and have fun. So those are all things that will help people think of you when they're looking for change, whether it be for the business opportunity or to get started on their health and fitness journey. And the last thing is, I have never been good with excuses. Just my personality type. Like I said, I'm a fixer. If there's a problem, I look for the solution. Don't do well with excuses of my own. Sometimes my husband makes them and it drives me entirely crazy, but he's not here, so I can say that. So in recognizing that there are going to be failures, again, referring back to Take the Stairs, that first personal development book, in the Compound Effect, I saw Darren Hardy at my very first summit, and he talked about the pendulum swing. Only with great failure can there be great success. So I knew that I was going to run into bumps in the road. I knew that there was going to be resistance. There were going to be things that I needed to change and adjust and fix. But that was an opportunity to learn and come up with a creative solution for that. So always be a student and learn from the lesson in every single failure. And then I also share with my team, because I don't want them to think that success comes easy, that there aren't going to be hiccups, that there aren't going to be bumps in the road. So I would share with them if I missed a qualification. Or actually, one huge failure that I can share with you guys is my first full year as a coach, I hit elite barely. The last 6 weeks out of the year were qualification. I don't know if any of you guys are pushing for elite this year, but I had 5 diamonds on my team. I didn't give myself any room for any cushion. So I needed to help those diamond coaches hold the rank for 6 consecutive weeks at the end of the year. And one coach was really unstable diamond, really rocky. And every single week she had discount coaches dropping rank. And we had to work together to make sure she was going to help out with this team goal that we had. And the week after, and it was New Year's Eve, and it was horrible. She dropped rank, and we were working on New Year's Eve, trying to help her find that one last coach that she needed to maintain her rank. And we did it. It wasn't easy, and it was a pain in everybody's butt having to work on a holiday, but we did it. It was a celebration to afterwards. But and then my second full year, I kind of went into management mode, and this is where you guys really need to focus. 80% of your time needs to go into your own business, 20% into your team. And I didn't do that my second full year in my business. I sponsored 4 new diamond coaches, so I thought, this is going to be really good. I'm going to shoot for 10-star by the year end. But I finished at 6-star diamond. In 12 months into business, my rank went up by 1 diamond. And I was like, wow, this felt totally defeated. I was a 1-star diamond at Summit last year. Even though I walked the stage as a 6-star, I had coaches dropping rank like crazy. And I was trying to help them get their motivation back for the business. But the reality is you can never, force the business onto somebody. It has to come from within. Motivation is an inside job. If they don't have it, then you have to move on. You have to always be recruiting for new coaches and new people that have that excitement to work this business and to help people. And can you guys hear this okay with the background noise? Sorry, just got a little toy going on. Can you hear it okay? Or okay. So that's one thing, you just always have to be focusing on the 80-20, 80% your business, 20% theirs. All right, so I want to give you guys some things that I do now that help me, I feel like, keep going, right, with my momentum. Getting organized. I'm not the most organized person, I'll be the first to admit it, but when I started implementing Google Calendar, I noticed things really changed. I felt like more accomplished. I felt like things were just had a place, and I used the time bucket, or the bucket, I don't know what it's called, the time bucket, I guess, organization system for managing time. So with Google Calendar, I don't know if any of you guys use that, but you can literally, put color code certain activities that you're spending your time on. So I personally use purple for my business time, and I use the teal green for my team time, and then I use yellow, bright yellow, for family time. And that way it just kind of helps me. I always make sure I block out family time, and my phone is off, my computer's off during that time. They know that I'm present for them during those hours, and it's usually like after school when the kids get off the bus until after they go to bed. I don't work during those hours. And then the other thing that it helps me do is visually see, am I really truly giving 80% of my time to my business, writing my blogs, doing my posts, doing my own personal development. I'm studying like page training by Jesse Reagan right now. So I want to make sure that I give my time to, take back the money that I paid for that training and implement those things into my own business so that I can also then turn around and teach it to my team. And it also helped me look at, where I can trim the fat, so to speak. So again, I don't watch TV unless it's during that family time block and we want to watch a movie together. That's really the only time that I'll sit down and watch TV if it's family time. All right. The other thing that I did is Success Club, guys, is non-negotiable. In my first year, 2 years into the business, because I knew it would help me for my elite goals to build my husband's account to Success Club. It was non-negotiable for me for both my own business and my husband's. And it was a way for me to accelerate my success he was my, one of my diamonds for my elite goal that I had. And then also I recognized that once I'm to 2-star, I can build a second business center. And that was also one of my diamond accounts towards my elite goal. So those are all things, again, going back to control your controllable. You have your spouse account to work your business, work it. You have your second business center to work it, because it's going to help accelerate your business. It's going to help fast speed your success, and it's going to increase your income, right? Which we're all here to help people, but we also want income too. The other thing that it did as a new coach is it doubled my success, my customer leads, which was really important because, again, I had a very, very small network to start. So by hitting Success Club 10 for myself early in the month, I would also hit Success Club 10 for my husband. So that I was not limited to 10 leads the following month. I was earning up to 20 leads the following month. And doing that consistently, month after month after month, that was adding a lot of people to my network. Get plugged in. I attended events like it was part of my job. Super Saturdays, Summit. Once I started qualifying for leadership, I would never miss those opportunities to get together with coaches, get my team together, guest speak at Super Saturdays. I really hate public speaking. It makes me super nervous. Doing these team calls makes me uncomfortable. Doing my own team calls still makes me uncomfortable. But I know that I have to do it to be the leader that I aspire to be and to also be a better coach. I was always very self-sufficient with finding my information. I never went to my coach for questions. I would always Google it, use the FAQs, YouTube, because the resources and information is there, and it just makes you a better coach because you learn more. Even though I would go into the FAQ looking for something, I would always find other stuff like, oh, I didn't realize that. That's really interesting. So I teach my team the same thing, and it helps them be more independent leaders. And I feel like they're just better, stronger coaches for their own teams because they're learning more and they're being more independent. Let's see. And then, so kind of what I'm saying is, see yourself at the rank that you aspire to be long before you get there. And that's one thing that I always did. I always looked ahead to what's next. Beachbody is very ingenious how they have the events and things planned throughout the year. And there's always something else to work for and to look forward to. I remember I missed the first star bonus by like something really silly. It was maybe like I didn't have the volume under my husband's account or something that I even had control over. And I looked at my husband like, oh my God, I cannot believe I missed that. Like, how could I have missed that? And he looked at me, he's like, you know what? You busted your butt. There's going to be you're going to qualify for the next star bonus. And that's what I did. It made me work harder to make sure that I didn't make the same mistake and miss the next one. Attending leadership, I really would have liked to have gone to the leadership conference in California my first full year as coach. I just barely missed it, the qualification deadline. But what it made me push for is the 2-star new leadership conference. That was the first year that they were hosting in January. So I went to the new leader conference in January, and then I also qualified to attend the leadership that fall. So I was one of the only coaches who were able to attend both the new leader conference and the leadership. So that was pretty cool. So, there's always things to, the cup is always half full. I'm very much of an optimist, always look for the good in the failures, right? And then invest in your team long before your income is there. And this is something that it was hard for my husband to see, but actually he was very, very supportive, and he knew the potential and the opportunity was with this business. So, little small success club incentives, I love to gift to my team to pay back. So I would, incentivize them if I knew that it would help push them to their business goals long before I probably had the income, doing little meet and greets, hosting leadership retreats, with Emerald coaches or, the working coaches, or just even meeting them for coffee and paying for coffee, is something that I really loved to do for them. So I guess that's something to think about. And let's see what else. One other thing I want to talk about is my customer groups. And this is one thing that I feel like was really kind of changed. There's two things: the customer groups, and then how I respond to my new contacts. So what I did probably maybe six to 12 months into my business is I realized that a lot of my customers were getting really good results, and they didn't need necessarily the daily accountability. And we were using the same posting guides. It's like, okay, these guys are probably like getting really sick of the same posting guide. And I tried to change things up and make them different. But I still wanted a place where I could support them as my customers. And then also all of the free leads that I was getting through Beachbody, even though they maybe weren't in a challenge group of mine or didn't have any interest in getting in a challenge group of mine, I really still wanted to support them. So I created a general fit club kind of group on Facebook where it's only my customers. So anybody who went through a free group of mine, who signed up for a free membership, who finished a challenge group, didn't need the daily accountability, anybody who had signed, or like my Fit Club people who were just there for the Fit Club, I would have them pre-register with me through signing up for a Team Beachbody membership, so that I was their coach. So any of those people, my customers, were in this group. And I run it similar to a challenge group, but I don't have a daily posting guide. And I'm not necessarily looking for their accountability every day, but it's a way for me to share recipes, motivation. We run fun monthly challenges in there. I'll do a plank challenge, a 30-day plank challenge, or gun buns and abs, other things to keep their interest and keep them engaged. But it also is a great place to go back. You can just go to the members because they're all your customers. And when I need to push for a high goal, maybe I want, the high numbers for Success Club or during the Cup Challenge, I can go into that members group and send them private messages to reconnect with them, maybe at a product launch, because I know they're already interested in healthy lifestyle. They're already interested in Beachbody programs. A lot of them have used some of the products before. So I can approach them about a new product launch if they want to join my beta test group for, 22-minute hardcore or whatever it might be. And ask for referrals, because a lot of those people, again, have been in my challenge groups. They know what I do to help people. So I can incentivize them or not, or just ask if they know anyone who would want to join into a challenge group. And then the other thing, like I said, and I'm going to find this message for you guys because this really, really helps a lot. So when I have new contacts, generally usually from my cold market, so like my like page, or if I'm running some sort of ad from Instagram or my like page, I always want to tell people what I'm about. And that really helps accelerate the forming process so that I don't feel like I'm spending so long getting to know them. They already know what to expect from me by following me and following my page. And I'm finding that a lot of people, maybe will follow me for a week or two, and then they see my posts, again, being consistent on Facebook, posting every single day, posting my workouts, doing that whole thing. They know what I'm about, and they will approach me about joining into their challenge group or my challenge group. So let me find that for you. The other thing too, if you guys don't have a file system like Evernote or Google Doc that you can share with your teams, that was one thing that really helped me once I started realizing that, things that were working for me, I wanted to share in an easy way with my team. And I love Evernote because I can have a totally mobile office. It's syncable with my phone. So let me find that script here for you guys. Here it is. I'll just put that in the chat here down here so you guys have that, maybe. Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with a little story. So I kind of said, I hope I'm not eating up too much of your guys' time. So I mentioned I'm a runner, right? A couple of weeks ago, I went on my longest run ever. It was like 15 miles or something crazy, 15, 17 miles. And it was one of those days where I could tell when I left my driveway that I just needed like a release. And running for me is my therapy. It's where I do my best thinking. It's where I just can be alone by myself and think to myself, I guess. So when I left, the wind was at my back and I was like, oh, this is nice. I feel like I could go forever. You know, I'm running, going straight north. Was it north or south? Straight south. The wind was at my back. And I had all these positive thoughts. I'm like, you know what, this is a lot like, you know, new coaches. I was signing a lot of new coaches, you know, that week. And I was like, you know, it's like people are excited when they start. They have, you know, the wind at the back. They have all this like love and, you know, excitement for the business and all these goals and dreams of what they think they can achieve. And then I turned the corner and right away there was a hill. It's like, oh, all right, you know, this isn't so bad. And I could start feeling like a little bit of a side wind. It's like, oh, what did I do? And it just reminded me that, you know, sometimes with coaching, like there's going to be things that hiccups, those little bumps in the road, those objections, things maybe don't go according to plan as you thought. Maybe your husband starts getting on you about how much time you're spending on Facebook. I know I had that, you know, wondering what the heck you're doing all the time. And then I turned and headed north and I was full blown into the wind. And at that point I was like, oh my God, I have how many miles to get back home? And you know, those crossroads, I live out in the country and every mile there's a crossroad. And every time I would cross one of those, it's like, oh my gosh, I could totally take a shortcut and just go home fast. And, you know, it's like there's temptations to quit the business. There's, you know, coaches quit on us. You know, again, those objections, people sign up and want to coach and then they quit like the next week. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? You know, what is this really, am I really doing everything that I need to do? Am I, you know, is this really going to pay off? But you know what, then you turn the corner again and then the wind's back at your back again and it pushes you home. So I want you guys to think about the parallels with, you know, your fitness goals, with the coaching business. There are so many different parallels and things you can look at, but, you know, think of the compound effect and know that what you're doing today is going to impact and make a difference on your tomorrow. And you just have to have faith and trust the process. Don't miss your power hour. You know, that's something that you can control. Don't miss those invites, those opportunities to share what we do. Because in the end, whether they say yes or no, you know, that's no skin off your back. You're just sharing, you're planting the seed and sharing the opportunity with other people. You know, I think about my husband seeing Alyssa's posts. I don't discount, you know, guy followers. I don't necessarily go out and actively, you know, friend request guys because that's not my target market. But what I do think about is like friends that I had from high school, from college, maybe like cousins who are marrying, you know, like, because I have a huge, huge family. Like, I don't even know all my first cousins, but I see them all getting married now. It's like, oh, I wonder, you know, they're having babies and I wonder if they're like me and want to really stay at home and work, you know, a life of freedom and have that lifestyle where they don't have to use daycare. So I really have the soft spot, I guess, for new moms, for young moms, people just getting married. And, you know, look at that as maybe I can reach out to my cousin who's getting married about his wife or, you know, whatever. So there's always opportunity to share with people a solution if you're looking for it. And I just want you guys to be open and, you know, embrace this business because it can be such a beautiful, beautiful thing when you just go for it and get rid of the excuses and just do the work. It's going to pay off. You have to trust the process. Make Success Club non-negotiable because you need people to build a business, right? Success Club is points, but it's really people, right, that you're helping and that you're changing every month. So I guess that's all I have for you guys. I hope this was helpful and some aha moments happened tonight. And if you have any questions, I guess let me know, or today.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. Even I've got notes upon notes. I was going to see if I was going to ask you something. So you mainly build, you were talking about, okay, so friends, you mainly just go out and add friends of friends. Like you're just getting into your like page stuff now? So-
No, that's what I did when I first started. It was all person, like my Facebook page. I started a like page probably like my second or third month in.
Okay.
But I'm doing Jesse Riggins training on learning ads.
You'll
So
see me in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. I just have to make time for it.
Awesome.
Like I was saying, that's part of my 80% that I have to make time for.
Yeah, his training's awesome. Really awesome. Okay, so and then when you did the grocery shopping and stuff like that, that was also was that flyers you put out, you said?
So, yep, I try to work smarter, not harder with everything that I do. So I have a blog, and what I did was I wrote a blog post, and then from there I shared it to Pinterest. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Pinterest is a really great tool too. It's kind of like Instagram in a way where you can, and Facebook Messenger, where you can talk back and forth to people that you have relationships with. So I try to share a lot of original content because like Pinterest is circulatory, right? It gets repinned and repinned and repinned, and there's no end to it. Whereas Facebook, once you post to Facebook, it almost gets dead in the newsfeed unless somebody else goes back and likes it and brings it back up. So I use my blog and my Pinterest. I do use Instagram. But getting back to your question, so I looked at, how can I get the word out? So I did a blog post, and then I posted on Facebook, and that's where I like tagged a whole crap load of friends about it. I did put up flyers around town, but that wasn't as successful. I think I've only helped a handful of people with flyers that I put up around town. But I did do that for my challenge groups as a new coach. So I went into like the post office, into the grocery stores, anywhere where there was a big bulletin board. And I had like the little tags on the end. I was accepting applications for people who wanted to join into an online accountability group. And then I had like my phone number or whatever on the bottom, however I wanted them to contact me. So again, think about omnipresence. Like, how can you think outside the box and get off Facebook and social media, get out in the community, do those fit clubs, do meetup groups. And now with the summer coming, like one of my coaches is doing boot camp workouts out in the park. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to do that. That sounds like so much fun. Like we're working out anyway. Why not invite other people to do it with us, right? So I don't know if that answered your question. And the grocery shopping thing, yeah, I created a JPEG online and tagged the crap out of it to get the word out.
Yeah, it did. We have a fit club over here. I'm in Arizona, so we're kind of nice weather all year long pretty much. So yeah. We're always out. And there's a handful of elite coaches over here, and two of us have been running one, or I've been going to hers, and it's been fun. Those are really fun. And I don't do mornings very well, but I go over there and like all these people would come and she'd make us dress up like for Christmas or whatever. It is really fun. Okay, there's a question. How many hours do you work your business each day now?
That's a really good question, and I didn't touch on this at all. So when I first started coaching, I had babies at home, like 4 of them, and the summers were not fun with all 4 of them and me working alone. So I worked very sporadically. Even though I was a stay-at-home mom, like that does not mean that I had unlimited time to work my business. It was very much like between the mom cracks. I got up early. I did my workout 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning before the family woke up because my husband was leaving early for work at like 6:30. So if I wanted to go on a run, I needed to get up my butt up early and go in the morning. So that's what I did. And then I worked my power hour during Marin's morning nap. So I did that between that hour. And then I was present with them until lunchtime, until afternoon nap. Then I would work a little bit more during her nap in the afternoon. And then again, like family time was afternoons. So like 3:30, 4 o'clock until bedtime, I wasn't working at all. And then when they went to bed, that's when I worked the bulk of my hours. And because I wasn't on Facebook before, like I was astounded. Like how many people are up so late at night Facebooking? Like I was having conversations at 1, 2, sometimes 3 in the morning. I was like, God, don't you people go to bed? I want to go to bed. But that's when I was signing up challengers and talking with people. So I made that sacrifice to sleep, sacrificed my sleep to get my business started and build that momentum. Before coaching, you guys, this is really funny, but I was in bed by like 7:30, 8 o'clock. When I put the kids to bed, that's when I would go to bed, no joke. But I justified it because I was getting up at 4:15 every single morning. But what I found out was I really didn't need that much sleep. My fuel for the business and the excitement of helping people really energized me, and it kept me going, even though my body was exhausted. Like my mind was just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Like I could feel that I was doing the right things and I could feel the momentum. And I just loved challenging myself every single month. So I set a Success Club goal for myself and a recruiting goal. The things that I focused on in my business, 3 things were my Success Club points, how many coaches I added to the business, and how many team advancements we had. So like my personally sponsored coaches, how many coaches were they helping advance? And that just, was helping me kind of look at my leadership or my coach's leadership. If we were not helping our team advance, then we needed to do something different. So those are the 3 things that I tracked every single month. And then I tried to do better every consecutive month after that, but even by one person. How much do I work my business now? It looks a little different now because of, I guess, the number of coaches in my team. I have I don't know how many diamonds, but our team is growing. We're still pretty young. I have my 3-year anniversary in July of this year. But again, it's very sporadic. I have 2 days that I have no babies. So Marin goes to preschool on Mondays and Wednesdays. So those are really the days that I try to get as much done as I can. And I have no interruptions, and it's really, really nice. And I try not to schedule appointments, like personal appointments, doctor appointments, things like that on Mondays and Wednesdays, because those to me are my work days. And then on the other days, like when I have Marin home with me, I do follow my same routine where I have my business things are in the morning. I always focus on my business activities in the first part of the day because that's where I'm most productive. So I want to give my own business that time. And then the afternoon is when I help my team, when I'm doing like the shout outs and sponsorship drill downs and checking my Facebook messenger messages in the afternoon, doing one-on-one calls with them in the afternoon, because I can be outside on the phone when she's playing in the sandbox or whatever. So I can kind of multitask that way. And then at night, I don't do as much as I used to. I try really hard to be done at 10 o'clock so that I can give my husband, that time before we go to bed. And this is one thing that's really important to you guys. Just communication with your spouse. It's something that I can always improve and get better. But, things weren't always great. When I was working a ton of hours in like late nights, he really felt the blow because that was time that, I took away from us, initially. Where we were, sitting down relaxing at night, I was working instead. But he was always on board, and he knew that I was doing this for the family, and he knew what our family goals were. So once I created a dream board for my business myself, we also created a family dream board and asked him what his goals were. And it really opened up his eyes, and he saw the opportunity that this is not only going to be changing like my life and our routine, it can be a tool that's going to change his life. And we are so close, guys, to him being able to leave his job. And he actually, probably could right now, but we need a little bit more time to make sure everything is going to be set. But this opportunity is going to allow for him his dream life to be a stay-at-home studio potter and take apprentice students and to run his own home business. So having those conversations with your spouse are so key and so important because they will understand that this opportunity can also change their lives. So I don't know how much time. So I guess I don't track like exactly how many hours per day I work. Maybe I should, but it's very intermittent, hit and miss. Like again, my power hour in the morning, my workouts in the morning, personal development is in the morning. And then afternoons are pretty lax. And then, I do what I need to do in the evenings before bed.
I feel like, and then sometimes you're in a season where you might work a little bit harder and more. Like we're like, in my opinion, April and May are always kind of slower just because January through March is just kind of easy. Like you're still work, but a lot of people are more open to being like, yeah, I'll do that. And it's just, I just feel like if your momentum's really going, it's just going to be a lot smoother. So there's that too. There's the seasons. Then there's, are you working for a goal like the summit recognition or the bonus, which is this week, I think, if you haven't hit it yet for this quarter, it's, you might be putting in a lot more if you're like, I need that 5-star bonus or whatever, or I want to, I don't know, be 10-star qualifying or whatever the goal might be. So I think there's that too. Oh, she's back with more. What do you do to help your team rank advance? And what did you do when you were in a plateau of only advancing 1 diamond yourself last year? Ooh.
Oh, those are good questions. All right, so what do I do to help okay, this is the system that we do for our team training, and we're in the third month, and so far it has been working really, really well. We had the most amount of team advancements ever in 2 weeks ago. We had like a record. So I should have my calendar in front of me, which I don't. Hold on, let me find it so I can tell you what I do. That's a really good question. All right, so I was probably like all of you guys running closed Facebook groups for my coaches training. And what I was finding was people were starting to kind of drop off. There wasn't as much engagement as I would have liked. And if you have a smaller group, it's not always the best environment for learning, to foster learning and relationship building. So what I do now is I want to utilize also my larger team and the leaders that I have on my team and work together with them so that it's not only me running these groups, because we're all doing the work. So why not do it together and help each other out and learn from each other, and having our new coaches learn from each other. Because as a new coach, you know, at least my coaches anyway, it's probably across the board, people are afraid to invite into the coaching opportunity for a couple of reasons. One, they lack the confidence to explain it. And number two, they lack the confidence in being able to get them started right. So I kind of take the pressure off of all of our new coaches by offering this system for them. So what I do is, okay, so for the month of May, I have a Getting Started Right call every other Sunday night. And we host it at 9 o'clock Central. So it's after the kids are in bed. Most people are available in the later evenings. So every other week, it's just they know there's going to be a Getting Started Right call for everybody in our entire downline every other Sunday night. And then on the opposite weeks, so every other Wednesday, we do a large team-wide sneak peek. So whether we do a 3-day or a 1-day event or just host a Zoom call, I kind of switch back and forth between those three things. It's for our entire team. They all know that that week we're inviting into coaching to get onto that webinar. So that again is every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central, and we do that on the opposite weeks is the Getting Started Right. So that way, people who listen to that webinar, if they want to sign up, then that following Sunday, they have that Getting Started Right call to jump on. Okay, so it just works out really well. That way there's a nice flow. And then the other thing that we do is we have a team training website with 10 really easy, basic, fundamental assignments. And I ask people to send them via email to me or whoever their sponsor coach is. So they're completing, it's like, how do you find your link? How do you personalize your website? Just really basic information that they need to know to get their business off the ground, so that it doesn't overwhelm them, because we all know as a new coach, it's really super overwhelming when you're being added to all these Facebook groups and not really knowing what you're doing. So I've kept it really simple on purpose. And that also tells me if they're ready to rock it. So someone who gets me all 10 assignments in the first day or two, like I know, okay, this person is going to be a runner. I have to meet them at their pace. I'm going to get on the phone with them to set up, the first Getting Started Right call one-on-one, get a game plan to help them find the first 3 customers and advance to Emerald. Okay. If it's someone who joined and it's 2 weeks later, I still haven't seen the first assignment, I know that I need to remind them of their why and reach out to them about their why. All right, so those 2 calls are set on opposite weeks. And then on the 3rd Thursday of every month, we have a 5-day team-wide Emerald group. So it runs for 5 days, starts on the 3rd Thursday of every month. The team knows it. They put all of their own coaches in there, new coaches, to help them advance their business to Emerald. And it's just a focus group, 5 days. And then after that, when they advance their business to Emerald, on the first Monday of every month, they have a 30-day Emerald to Diamond group starting. So the goal of that is to, again, help them build coaches to their team. It doesn't have to be, a discount coach, a working coach, whatever. We want to help them continue building beyond Emerald, because a lot of times coaches, I think, get stuck at Emerald. They add those 2 coaches and then they stop for some reason. I've seen it a million times. So having them in that just 5-day focus group getting to Emerald, and then the Diamond group right after that, I think they're still excited from advancing to Emerald. They keep pushing. They're just adding, they're duplicating. You hit Emerald, do it again, right? And then once they achieve Diamond, we make a huge deal out of it. And then they the following month get to help us lead that group. So again, it's just helping develop their leadership skills, helping empower them, helping build their confidence so that they can also be seen in the spotlight as a leader on our team and helping contribute to how to work a business successfully. So, okay, what's the other question? What was I doing? What did I do when I was at a plateau? I knew I was doing everything right. Again, you cannot control what your coaches do. You can give them the tools, you can give them the information, you can encourage them to get plugged in to team calls, to attend events, but in the end, it's going to be up to them if they're willing to work the business or not. So again, I had to take a step back and ask myself, am I really truly working my power hour? Am I inviting every day? Am I doing as much as I can to work that 80% of my business and not feel like a manager on my team, which is what I had been doing. So I just adjusted. I tried to refocus and make sure that I was spending that 80% of my time on my business and meeting my Success Club goals, my recruitment goals. Pushing myself to be a better leader towards my personally sponsored coaches and run with the runners. You cannot chase down. It's not fun to feel like you're chasing down coaches who dropped rank. It's not. I've been there, done that. And, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be up to them. It's their decision if they want to do it or not. So, you can have conversations if they're like dabbling in it and they have a really powerful why. You can get on the phone with them and just have a conversation. Where are you at? Is this something that's important to you? And ask them what their goals are. And if they want it, then strategize and help them figure out a plan. But if their effort's not matching their goals, then that it's not you, it's them. And you have to just continue looking forward to see, who else you can help build a sustainable, business. Okay, so the sneak peeks, am I using the same videos or changing them up so new coaches are being highlighted and seen? I really, really love Zooms. I do use the videos, but I feel like the most engagement and the most success that I have, because you guys probably I'm getting this vibe from me. I'm so passionate about talking about the business and the coaching opportunity that a lot of times when people get on a call with me, a phone call or a Zoom, they're signing up. So my preferred method always is to get on the phone with my own prospects. I do the sneak peeks more for my team because I know that they're not as comfortable getting on the phone and talking to people, or they're not as comfortable getting on a webinar. So I do it more as a service to my team. I do ask for videos from them to contribute. If they have people, even if they're a brand new coach and they have nobody, if they're adding people into that sneak peek, I encourage them to put in a video of their why, how coaching has impacted their life, because people are going to connect with who invited them in. And if they don't see that person present in that event or that group page, they're probably not going to be as plugged in as if they see that person who invited them in. So even if it's a post, if they're not comfortable doing a video, having them in there in some fashion is going to really help inspire them and motivate them to join the team. The also thing that the webinars really do is allow opportunity for, let's say I have 3 prospects, my coaching team, they each have 3 people in there, right? So getting them on a webinar and then going around and maybe having a couple coaches talk, really short, like 2 to 3 minutes on what coaching has done for them, maybe their Beachbody story. Maybe they don't relate with my story, but they're going to relate with somebody else's story. And they're going to be like, yeah, that's how I feel right now. And it might be, it's not like they're going to sign up with that other person because they have a relationship with you. But helping them hear the other stories is going to also increase the likelihood that they might be motivated to start to join your team. Okay, so that was the same question. All right, anything else?
Awesome. Looks like that's it. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I know we're a little bit over time, so thanks for hanging with us and answering those questions. This was great. I took a ton of notes. Even I'm like always learning new stuff. Even after being in this for 5 years, like you guys never stop learning. It does. I feel like you can never, there's always something new to learn, which is awesome. So I really appreciate you doing this for us. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. So I'll let you go back to your little ones.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye guys.